Meet my support system as a multi-time best-selling author. I have been published for 8 years, and I actually started writing a few years before that. So it's been a long haul with my author career, and I've had the best support system throughout my career, but it's not what you think, because my support system has been made entirely of my dogs. It started off with my oldest dogs, Lacey and Jada. They are biological sisters, 1 litter apart, so they're just a few months difference, and they have been with me since the very first word on the very first page of my very first novel, through my debut, through all of the things that I have gone through multiple bestsellers, and I only lost them a few years ago, so they saw the vast majority of the books that I published and of my career and the really cool things that I've been able to do. And the thing that is really great about them is that they were very involved in sitting directly on my feet while I was writing at the table. And so they were great about lending support. When it was cold out, they would warm my feet up. And because they were directly on me, I was not able to get up and go do things. So I had to stay very focused while I was writing my stories. They've been through the highs, the lows. They've sat there while I've cried when I hurt characters in my stories, which I have done before. Crying, I hurt them. But they've been really, really good about getting me out in the world to explore new things and to learn new things and to give me character development ideas and all sorts of really cool things that I have written into my books because I've seen them do things or interact in a way or going to explore new places and do new things. They've given me a lot of stuff that I can write into my novels or really characterize what I am creating. And I miss them every single day. They were my babies. They were like my first children. And I just had so much growth because of them in my author career. I will forever be grateful to them. And right around the time that I was becoming published, we added a third to our group. We actually adopted Ember, and originally Ember was going to be for my grandmother, who desperately wanted a puppy. We gave her this puppy. She promised to quit smoking, and she didn't. The puppy was sick, unfortunately, when she came to us, and then the smoke made it worse. And so we repossessed Ember, and Ember came to live with us, and she was very involved in my author career as well. So she was actually around when I did my debut novel. She was not necessarily there for the first words that I had written, but she came in and she is still with me today, being a cuddle bug and just keeping her attention on me while I'm writing to make sure that I am petting her and loving her and giving her all the cuddles while I am writing and doing all the things inside of my novels. Now, when I did lose Lacey and Jada, I ended up with 2 new puppies, Lucy and Gemma. So right now, my current moral support system is Lucy, Gemma, and Ember. And these dogs are a little bit different than my first dogs because these dogs were allowed on the furniture. And so whereas Lacey and Jada and at one point Ember were floor puppies and they were not on the furniture with me, but they could sit on my feet, like on the floor. These new dogs are very much cuddly puppies. And so I will sit on the furniture, I'll sit on the couch with a table, or I'll sit on my bed writing, and they will be on my lap. So their heads will be right there. They're always there if I'm like feeling the emotions of the story that I'm writing. They will check on me. They'll make sure I'm okay. They'll get those cuddles in there. They'll get the snuggles in there. Usually they just sleep on me while I'm doing it, but that weight keeps me focused because I know where they are. I don't have to worry about them. They're giving me all the support that I need. I can pet them when I need to, which stretches out my fingers, which is great because when you're typing a lot, just taking that little break to pet your puppies and to look around and do things keeps you healthier because you're stretching your eyes out, you're stretching your fingers out. You might be stretching the rest of your body out, which is really, really important as authors who do a lot of writing for prolonged periods of time. We talk all about author health here on the channel, so make sure you check out those episodes as well. But they are very snuggly with me. But they also do a lot more than my previous dogs because we get out more. We go on adventures more because I'm living in a different place now. When I started my author career, I lived out in the country, up in Pennsylvania. I had a pond, I had a lake, I had access to all sorts of woods and fields and meadows and like places. So I had a very contained space on a couple of acres where we just lived our life. We had a great time playing. We got to go swimming. We got to go running on the ice. We got to do all those things, but we went on less outside adventures because we had all of our adventures on our property. Now that I live lower in the United States, I have a smaller space. I still have a yard for my dogs to play in, but not nearly the property that we had. And there's literally nothing to do where I live right now, which is why I desperately want to get out of here as quickly as possible. And I'm working on it. But there's nothing to do here. And so we have to try to go do more adventures. So these puppies have been to the ocean more than my other dogs did, even though those dogs love the ocean more. These dogs go on adventures to different places. We go out to parks to go for walks, whereas my other dogs never did because we had all of that property. We could walk around the pond, the private pond, all of those things. So now I'm getting out into the world and we're doing things where I'm learning more about world building and how things work that are not necessarily super country, because back home I understood the ecosystem around a pond and the meadows and the woods and all of those things. Here is the suburbs. So now I'm learning a new ecosystem and how people and animals and all those things interact. I'm learning different things that I can now implement into my stories in a different way. So these dogs are cuddly. They're on top of me while I'm doing things. And we're also getting out into the world to do even more. So all of my dogs have had their noses in my books. We're going to go with that. I like that. It's kind of fun. They've had their noses in my books, on my books, around my books. And they really implement a lot of what I am doing. That's not the proper term, but they really have strong implications on what I am going to be writing because they're just such a strong part of my life. They're always here. They're always a part of it. And so effectively, they are my co-writers, even though they're not getting their little paws typing on the keyboard and they're not adding to my ideas, but they are really good for bouncing ideas off of because they're not judging me and they're not adding things and they're not whispering in my ears. They're just listening to me talk things out. So when we're in the park on our walks, when we're doing things, they are lending that support and letting me grow as an author simply by being there and giving me something to talk it out with. Because even if, and I'm not, but even if you are nervous to talk things out while you're out on a walk in the park, people are going to look at you and think, oh, she's talking to her dog if she's walking a dog. So I have no problem talking in front of people. If people want to think I'm weird, I'm fine with that. But because I am talking directly to my dog, it makes me look less weird, right? So I always love recommending, if you are an author, to have a dog in your life. Even if it's not your dog, borrow a dog for a little bit, go to the shelter, walk a puppy for a few minutes. There's a lot of ways that you can do this because they have such a strong impact on what you're going to be creating, your creative process, and just supporting you emotionally throughout. Like I said, sometimes I cry when I'm really mean to my characters and I do really vicious, violent things to my characters, and my girls take care of me. So my support system has always been fantastic because people have always come and gone. There's nobody that's consistently been with me through my career. There's nobody that's always supported me. There's nobody that's there talking to me and going through these things. My dogs are. So my support system has really lifted me up. It's allowed me to be a multi-time best-selling author. It's given me the freedom to speak on stages and to do virtual conferences and to really lead inside of this industry because I have them in my life and because they are just giving so much to me as an author, as their mom, as the things that we are going to be doing are really strongly implemented into my author life and into my normal life as well. So drop your questions. Let me know what you want to know about Lacey, about Jada, about Ember, about Lucy, or about Gemma, or if you have questions about my childhood dog, Lady, let me know. All of my dogs are English Springer Spaniels except for Ember. She's a Pomeranian, which is a Pomeranian Papillon mix, and I have lots and lots of answers for you. So feel free to drop your questions on them. If you want to watch my current dogs, they have their own channel, Cam Robinson Pups, on all the social platforms. And I would love to hear about your dogs as well. So get into the comments, let me know who your puppy moral support is, and we'll see you in the upcoming episodes.